Hey, how you doing? Alright. Okay, let's do this thing. Alright. Okay, let's see, are we on? Are we ready to roll? I just want to make sure everything's Operation Go. Yep, we're recording. Sweet. Okay. What we're doing is we're doing a game Tatov. I don't know how to, I apologize about pronouncing your name, so I'm just not going to do that. Versus first name is P, so we'll just do her first name as P. So what this is the advanced variation of the French. And let me just get a drink. We'll get started. It's a very short advanced variation, so we'll talk over all the moves and get the moves going. Okay. Oops, there we go. So E4, E6, D4, D5. This is the start of the French, and from here you can do the advanced variation. This transposes sometimes into the Winier. Then you have the Rubinstein. Then you have one that's a little different that I've had it played on me, but I could defeat is Bishop's D3. So you have those type of moves, but we're gonna do the advanced. Oh, I almost forgot. Then you have the exchange variation. So E5 was played by Tatev's opponent. C5 standard line in the French for the advanced. You just whip these moves out. This is there's actually two moves here. There's this move here or that move. You can play both those moves. The most common line is knight f3. So there's more lines on knight f3 than queen e2. So I don't know if I do queen e2. That is a line in, I believe. Let me see if we've done that. If it is a line in Nick Defer's advanced variation. Nope. Let me see. I apologize. It's not. It's actually a little different. It must be on. I think it's one of the other openings that we're going to be coming up on, and we're going to go over some opening lines in the advanced variation. That's kind of why actually we're going to do the classic, but we worked on the advanced, so that's kind of why I pulled up an advanced game. So old classic mainline, we talked about that. Then it hits here and it hits the pawn there. A3, which is the standard. H5, H6, and of course, you guys know why this doesn't work, because that's dropped like an atomic blast on them. And there's really you can play here, but then another pawn falls, and if the bishop retreats back, then you have another pawn that falls, and then if that happens, then you just retreat your queen back. This is still, you still could play there, I understand, but then this pawn falls here, and so it's like, whoa, the whole queen side has been disintegrated. So it's kind of why b4 is played, not bishop takes. Pawn takes, and then knight f5. Bishop goes to b2. There is a line where after takes that this is actually play after you play here. There is this line here. It's not as excuse me. It's not as big because you could actually just take, and then you fractured White's pawns. But remember, White has a better bishop than ours, so this Black's going to want to play on the light squares. Bishop d7. This is actually a very important move. This is so later on, if white wanted to, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's say that you play, let's say white plays here. Let's say you play there, you play there, you play here and here and here. If this bishop wasn't here, guys, this is just a line, we're gonna erase it. I just wanted to show you a line. If this bishop wasn't here for white on d7, the bishop could do a discovery on b5, and then the queen would take the queen. But this bishop on d7 for Tatev stops that ability. So it blocks the check, which allows this to come to pass. If that was to be, but we're not, that wouldn't work. So we wouldn't do that. I just wanted to show you though. h4, rook c6, queen d2, h5, queen g3. I mean, not queen, pawn g3, which fortifies the pawn chain. It protects here, which gives the knight the ability to move. Also, it allows for the fianchettoing of the bishop so that the black can castle kingside. So black should, in this line, think about how he can take advantage of this structure, because it's solid, but with the right move sequence you can fracture it. Also, potentially g6 is a move that could be played for black, g6. Also, you could play e7. That's an interesting line. But I like g6 because of the potential for bishop to h6. The advanced fianchetto, bishop. It's really, really strong. It also makes it more flexible. And that's what Tatev plays, is actually g6, bishop e2, rather than bishop to g2, which this is not a very good move for white. This actually, the pawn on d5 blunts all of white's attack along the h1 to a8 diagonal, and as well, it's like biting on granite. And so the best move is actually to try to get the bishop outside the pawn chain. So you don't want to make your good bishop a bad bishop by placing it here and make it a bad bishop. This is really the only way to allow castling to happen for white and for the bishop to become active. So it's a trade-off. Which bishop is a good bishop, which bishop's a bad bishop. But like what our idea was, Tatev followed through with bishop to h5, h6, which attacks the queen. Queen has to go to d3 forced. It can't go. You wouldn't want the queen to go to c3. I mean c2 or c3 or you can't go to c1. So c2, c3. It could go back to d1, but d1 blocks the bishop, which potentially the light squared bishop would like to get outside the pawn chain by bishop d1, bishop a4, which then puts pressure on the king. So if the queen went to d1, the bishop would only have this diagonal to fight on, which would make it slightly not as powerful. And if the queen ever went on these two squares here, there'd be a discovery with the rook. So only square that's a potential that gives her opponent any chance of an advantage would be queen d3. That's it. One sec, let me get a drink. One sec, I'm gonna cough for a second. Okay, so she plays queen d3, knight d5. See, when this happens, when the queen moved, this bishop is on pre. So if her opponent takes, that could actually arise, and then queen can't defend the rook because this rook's under fire. This file's under fire by black, so there's no way to hold on to this rook. So it's going to fall if you were to take the knight. So you can't take the knight. It's a tactic that wins material. So knight bd2 is the only way to now potentially, even if this was taken, you still have some threat. You still could take. But why not just hop into c4? c4 is an interesting move, knight c4. It occupies a really strong outpost. Excuse me. If knight takes c4, then you can actually place a rook on c4. And like I'll show you, if knight takes, rook takes, and you're saying, but wait, can't the queen just, let's say, move? Oops, sorry, not there. Can't the queen just move? Yeah, the queen could move, but remember that you can always retreat back if need be. So I don't think, maybe rook takes maybe is the best move after knight. I want to see. Maybe pawn takes is actually best now that we think about it. Yeah, pawn takes is actually, rook takes is losing. Well, it's not well, it's still okay, but pawn takes is best in this scenario when the queen moves there, and now the knight can actually retreat back and come into d5 with an attack. So that's why that's why c3. Oops, got to turn that off. That's why bishop c3 was played. Melissa didn't want any counterplay for her opponent. White didn't want Tatev to have any counterplay. Bishop a4, very strong move. Potentially the queen's almost trapped. That's taken away. That's taken away. That's taken away. That's taken away. All we need to do now is to just attack this queen, and we got the queen. So the knight jams itself into g5 for one purpose, to stop this bishop. Also to I here. It's a very desperate move. a6 is played so that the bishop could actually go to b5, and with a discovery potentially after bishop b5, and then you have knight e5, winning a pawn, double attacking the queen, and next could be knight in there. You never know. So knight takes, pawn takes. Rook is now done. There's a triple attack on this here. So queen f4 to kind of keep an attack protection on here, but that doesn't really help anything. Probably I want to see if okay, castles. Okay, castles is what actually keeps the advantage, because Tatev's all-out attack. Her opponent isn't doing anything really that is helpful to her position. Yes, White's black's cramped a little bit, but there's no way for White to take advantage of anything. This bishop pins the knight to the queen. So now things are getting a little sticky here. Very, very potentially now a knight move could come to pass. If b, then bishop, then rook takes, and you never know. d5 to stop that. The pawn, it was pushed, e takes d. Now Tatev won a pawn on d5, and potentially the next move would be d4, and then d3, and then d2, and then a queen. And maybe win rook in the process. So g4 was played to attack the knight. H takes g, bishop takes g. There's our d4. Knight takes, bishop takes. And now pawn e6. Very, very interesting move. Her opponent's trying with all of her might to try to get some counterplay, because these pawns on the c file are really strong. Pawn takes, bishop takes, check, queen takes, knight takes, takes, and Tatev has two bishops for a rook, and these beautiful passed pawns. She's going to end up winning. There's no way really for White to stop this. Is push, check, And then if that is checked, then you queen, and then he has to take there, and this is what actually comes to pass. Okay, I wanted to show you a game I recently played. So I used the advanced variation. Actually, he used the Howitzer defense. Oh, sorry, Horowitz defense. Sorry. Bishop takes F. So that was a mistake on my part. And then I played bishop to e7. So c4 is correct. Let's see. Let's say that he comes back here. Oh, you win the queen there. I went a pawn there. mate 1. So best move in this scenario is check here. Okay. Let's go over some chess lines. I'm going to go over some classic variation. I promised you we would work a little bit on some of the openings. Okay, oops. Oh. That was really weird. Sorry about that. Let's delete that. We did not mean to do that. Let's turn the board. Okay, let's see how we're doing. Okay. So e4, e6, d4, d5. And now we have c6, knight c3, knight c3, bishop g5, bishop a5, knight. Okay. We need to now go over this line here. We're going to go over the main line one more time. Takes, f4 to solidify the center, castle, so that at the right time we can play f6 to break the center, and then c5, so c5 and f6 at the right time. A knight f3, c5, first move, queen d2, knight c6, going after the pawn and developing, castle queenside, c takes d, knight takes d, knight, and then rather than, remember we stopped here, we were going to see what the next move for black would be, because we have a game that's in the book from Nick Defer. He sometimes puts games like E and letters, and then he'll show you games that potentially would arise from this other moves. But the move that is the proper move that actually gives a slight advantage for black is taking. But in this line, we're going to see what E. It says bishop D. Wait a second, what am I missing here? Huh? Ay, what did I miss here? I think I'm missing something. This is move D2. Oh. This is odd. Hold on, guys. I wanted to make sure I put this in right. Let's see. Okay, after bishop takes, queen takes, f4, castles, f3, c5, bishop d2, knight c6, castle queenside. Oh, okay, my bad. That's the I missed that move. And e3, c takes, and then takes. There we go. I missed a move there. See, sometimes the best thing to do is to take a second, go back to your book, and redo it, and see if you missed a move. Sometimes that's what happened, because I missed a knight to b6, because otherwise on move 12 this move wouldn't have worked, because the knight would have been back on d7. King b1, a prophylactic move to get off of this diagonal, also to get the king safe. Sometimes it's just better just to safety the king. c5 is played, queen c5, a pin on the queen here, so that if the knight moves, of course you see that we win the queen, so that's not going to happen. H4 was played to give a flight square, kind of maybe to put some pressure. There's a potential outpost for a knight, and then a bishop can come there. You know, you never know. There might be something like that. There's always ideas behind these moves. Rook AC8. Now we're trying to take over the open file. If this knight moves, we can take this, this, and this. I'll show you. This knight moves here. We take here. Queen takes. We've won a pawn, and so we're up. If he comes there, we played there. It takes. Then we can actually play here, and when he retreats out, you can actually take a pawn. Queen takes, knight takes, and we're up 2 pawns, and we're into a major piece endgame winning. So that's why rook AC8. We'll delete this because that did not happen. He played instead rook H. What did I miss here? Rook H8. Hold on. I'm missing something. It says rook H3, but I don't know where there could be a rook. Hold on, let me see. What did I... Must have missed something somewhere. Hold on, my friends. Here's the game that it applies to. Oh, that makes perfect sense. I did A. It's actually H. And then rook A, B8, and then rook H. There we go. Okay, I gotcha. Okay, but now that we have the game, we'll just take a look to see how it arises. If you notice that white's trying to aim for attacks, queen takes, rook takes, and white's moving in. Do you see that? I'm just playing out the games for you to see. Just enjoy and watch how Ben Larson basically beats his opponent. He's up a whole pawn, Larson. I know what you're thinking. Why doesn't you're thinking back here, why can't the knight come and take here? Well, let's see why. And then you win a if the knight takes here, what is white's best response? So there. Here. Takes. Oh, I see. And then you could play rook, and then okay, it cements. Okay, that makes sense. Just wanted to check that out. So takes. And there's really no hope for black because he's down 2 pawns, and these pawns are just going to steamroll down the board. So let's go back to our game, and it's basically what happened. Okay, we'll H3, 95. Should be 3. This is basically an exclam move. Queen takes, rook takes, and A4. And of course, F3 was played with a superior endgame for Ben. This is actually his. We already looked at the game. It was 1990. This is an example of a common theme from the classic variation. White gains play on the dark squares. So he gains play on the dark squares because there's no dark square bishop for white. For black, I mean, black has no dark square, and his light square bishop is horrible. So if you were wondering about that. Okay, so let's go back. We went over that line. So, but wait a sec. Let's go back to the spot that we were talking about. Takes here. Takes is actually, this is best for black. This is the only line that is good for black. And then H4. And it's slightly better for white at this point. Otherwise, before, white's crushing. So we can't allow that to happen. So alright. So instead of queen, this is another line that we're going to take this and make this our promote to main variation, and I'm going to delete that. Delete this line, yeah. Alright, that's what happens. So this, instead of queen to E3, there's another subline. Actually, wait a second. My bad. I apologize. Let me see. Where did we go? Instead of queen D2, there's actually C takes D4. C takes D. I mean, yeah, D takes C5. Other way around. Knight C3, C6, bishop D3 with an attack and development. F6. E takes F6, knight takes F6, queen takes F6. So we have to remember not knight takes, queen takes, because that, oops. That double attack, so G3 to hold this pawn weakens the king side pretty good. Knight takes C5 to attack the bishop. Castle queen king side. Queen bishop D7, kind of to get everything developed. Hook up the rooks, and then potentially after rook E8, he can actually go back to C8, B6, and get the fianchetto outside the bishop advanced fianchetto. Queen D2, connect the rooks, and knight takes bishop, or knight takes D3. So let's see. There's even a move before even the takes here. There's a game I. So it says in its book, tricky is bishop to D3. This is a tricky move here. Bishop D3, hoping for this takes, which would be a mistake, because then bishop could take here, king could take here, knight could come to G5. The game, this is a correspondence game, and I'm thinking that this might end up in mate, if I'm not mistaken. This is a correspondence game between, let's see, do they have it? No, they don't. It actually shows the continuation. The continuation would be queen takes f, queen 5, g takes f, and d takes e3, knight h5, king g8, castle kingside, knight takes the pawn on e5, rook a to e1, knight g6. He's got 3 pieces for the queen: a knight, bishop, and knight. So we have suppose we have actually equal material in theory. By pawn count, we have equal material. But I know you guys will be like, wait a second, doesn't he have a queen? Yeah, but remember, it's about pieces, and white only has 3 pieces and black has 5 pieces. So there's a higher chance for a mate for black to checkmate white, because you need, my teacher told me, you need at least 3 pieces. Maybe a pawn could even be thrown in there as a potential helper for mate, but you need at least 3. You either need a pawn and 2 pieces, or 2 pawns and a piece, something like that. So rook e3 to, I know you're thinking, why doesn't he just take here? Because he doesn't want to really fracture this. This would allow the knight to come out, and then potentially these 3 pawns would be targets the entire game for a rook. So he doesn't want, his opponent doesn't want that to happen. Let's see if there's a game that comes up. Nope, no game that comes up. That's at least in this. So e5. And if rook takes, let's say rook was to take here, you develop your knight and you potentially can push there, so you just have to be really careful with taking. The knight basically would love to come in to, I apologize, here, and you'd have to take there, and then if you took here, it's going to end up becoming a draw. If black can develop his pieces, he's got an advantage over white. So that's why that wasn't played. So e5, g4 to cement the position. Rook d8. h3, kind of see if they can't check here and win a pawn. Rook d6. Queen h7. King f8. h6. That's a crazy move. Rook takes f, and then he resigned here because after taking there's takes, and It's eventually going to end up becoming a checkmate. A pawn will fall. And let's see. After bishop d, black should actually play, this is what it says, this is the proper move. So we'll promote this. f6. This is the proper move. E takes f. Queen takes is correct. Knight g5. Queen takes the pawn. Bishop takes check. King h8. Queen h5. Knight f. Knight there. Rook takes. Queen takes. King takes. Rook to f1. Queen takes pawn. And rook to e. Rook g1 check. With an excellent winning chance. With excellent winning chances for black. This is the best winning line for black. Okay. But let's see what happens now. Because we're going to promote this. We're going to make c5 and c takes d5. C takes d5. Bishop d3, f6. E takes f, queen takes g. Castles, bishop d7, queen d2, knight takes, and that's a good line for. So we've went over this. So we went over that line. We've went over that line. Oops, we haven't went over that line yet. My bad. So we went over this line here. Went over that line. Okay, instead of queen d2 here, there's a move k. So we're gonna go over that. And it's thinking about instead of queen d7, queen e, queen e2, knight d4, knight takes knight, queen takes check, and queen f there, and then b4, a3, and queen b6, and with an equal position here. It's equal. So we went over that one. So after queen to d2, there's another one. Instead of takes here, there's actually another line which is L. So let's see. That'd be what am I missing here? Or 10. Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. It's after takes. There's a move for. No. What in the world am I missing? Hold on. Just give me a sec, guys. Not that. So C takes D. I have to make sure I get this because I'm reading it from a book. It's bishop D. E takes. Queen takes. G. Knight takes C. Castles. Bishop D. Queen D. And then it says move 14. Oh, this is move 15. So takes. Okay. Then C takes is the continuation. So this is the continuation of the move sequence. E5, rook A to C1, E takes F, knight takes F, D5, queen D6, knight takes on F4, bishop G4. Okay, queen to E3. Kinda, it's wanting to potentially get in maybe and see if you can't snap that off. Or potentially, that is a puzzling move. I don't know why he played that. That is a weird move. Well, maybe he can retreat back if something like rook comes over here. Maybe he could just retreat back and maybe try to go for an attack, something. Go figure. Rook A, D8. H3 to attack the bishop. H6. H4. Make sure I wrote that in right. Why didn't he just, when that was played, why didn't he just take here? That's actually the best move. That if knight takes, then in comes the Armada. Okay. And we'll stop here. We looked at this line. Okay. We have to look at this line here, here tomorrow. And then we'll even check this line out. But we'll have a good time real quick. And we'll do some puzzles. Let's see if you guys are interested in some puzzles. This was a little bit of just some fun. You know, you have to have a little bit of fun in chess. You have to go over lines. I know it's like, oh, the lines, but you know what? It's important that you do that. Let's see, what do we got here? Sorry, I gotta move the puzzles there. I just wanted to check to see what was going on. Ooh boy, if we play here, that's mate, and we don't want to have mate. That's game over. That's a good game. So really there's theoretically 3 moves you could play. Here, here, there. So these 3 moves. if we played here, the bishop could actually come in at that point. And I guess we'd have to move, and if we moved over here, sorry, if we came here, if you moved there, we'd have to move over there. And then we could just move our rook. And we're in kind of a pickle at that point. So this is a bad move because of check here. I'm sorry. This is a bad move because of check. Then we'd move, but I really don't. Maybe this isn't the best because of a knight check. Now that I think about it, if we moved here, he has a knight check, but we get to win the rook. So the rook would have to actually come back. After this move, I really don't see anything better than for him to play rook to c7, rook takes c7, knight takes c7, and then king takes c7. Otherwise, what'll happen is we'll actually win a whole piece, because if he doesn't play here, let's say we play here and he plays, we'll say there, we can actually play rook check. Bishop has to intercept first, and then the rook would take with check, and if the king came up, then we're up a whole piece. And we can also come back here, and no, we can't do that because then the knight could come here and fork our, so we'd have to just retreat our rook back at that point. Because he'd be more than happy if we played here. He then could free a spot up for his king to flee to with a check, and then even if we moved here, he still could just move his rook and we'd be fine. He'd be fine. And so I'm thinking that that's the only move. Yeah. Then you check. Then we potentially have a fork here. Thinking that is the only move, because after, if we play here, after he takes there, we can just take the rook. If we play here and he moves, we'll say to there, we can actually come up with check, and he has to come there, and then what we can do is bring our rook over, and then once he comes up we trade rook takes rook, pawn takes, and so that's what I'm kind of thinking. Am I missing anything? Oh wow, we can't play there, my bad, because of that. That would be a fork and we lose a piece. He's attacking two pieces at once. So if we tried to save this one, he'd just come over and grab that. But we can save two at one time. We can host our opponent. We can guard if we play rook to b1. Now that I think about it, rook b1 is a very powerful move. It guards the bishop and it gets our piece. I thought at this point I was thinking we'd have to do that. Then what would happen is king would take, and then at this point we would take here. And I don't think that's winning for black. It's a good thing we looked and saw that. That's actually the best move. If you guys feel comfortable enough to put in some words on chess for helping out. Bishop C. Oh, I tried that. Hey, how you doing? The problem with Bishop C, that's a good. I'm glad you proposed that. Is that there's a fork here. You would actually lose bishop. Yeah, I'm thinking the only move that holds is rook to b1. That's the only move. And if we tried this, yes, he does have that, and we can win. But why do that when you can just hold? Yeah. Yeah, I'll show you why. That's a good move if our opponent didn't have this move here. I'll show you. It's not a bad move. That's the only move that's a problem. That's it. And if he didn't have that knight there, that'd be a stellar move, because then what would happen is this would be my idea here. But that's why I looked at that too. But the only problem is this silly knight here. This silly knight really is a pain, because it has that, and I was like, oh, I saw that just in the nick of time. I was like, I thank the Lord that I didn't move that. Truly, I did. He allowed me to see it before I moved. And this, I almost missed this here, rook to b1. That would have been a tragedy. I thought something like this, and then king takes, but I'm not sure if it's winning enough. In my opinion, I don't know if I think it's more of a draw at this point, because it'd be a hard fought battle, and I don't know, because then he'd come over and grab that, and I think black still has some sort of an advantage, but then he has that, and I don't know. I'm not really liking our position anymore, because even with a check, we could get active, but I just think it's too risky to have done that. But that is a potential idea. This actually is winning because it holds everything together. So we'll go on to another one now. But we just go over and analyze those. We just go over and analyze them. even if we don't get them right, we learn from them, and then we improve. So it's not wrong. There is no wrong answer as long as you're learning and using the mind the Lord's given you. That's for sure. Let's see here. This is a pretty interesting line. So rich of ideas. Huh. It's too bad we didn't have a queen, like a piece here or something. If I couldn't, it's too bad we don't get a knight here. That'd be a really nice idea. Because then we can win a rook. That'd be sweet. Yeah, really, and I'm glad you proposed something. Don't feel bad. Just, you know what, you could propose anything in here. We'll go over it, as long as it applies to chess, of course. So don't feel bad about that. It's not where you start; it's where you finish. Huh. Snap! If only the queen couldn't take, this would be a really nice move. Because then we can drop. Well, maybe that wouldn't be a nice move now that we think about it. I'm rethinking stuff. Oh, rook f6. Huh. Yeah, that is crushing, isn't it? Rook f6 is really strong because if takes, then rook f6 takes, and that's checkmate. So if we play rook f6, if queen takes, which is more likely forced, then the knight would take at that point. So, oops, rook f6. What could he play here? He might try rook takes. Then we play rook here, takes there. And we'd be up an exchange. And then we can always play bishop g6 with a mating threat. Yeah, that is interesting. And if he played something like, we'll say bishop here, trying to get a discovery on our king, we can always snap off the pawn here. Forced is takes, and then we checkmate. So I think you're right on that. That is 100% right. And then you take there, yeah. And the next idea is if he plays queen up here, we can actually bring our knight in at this point, and this actually is winning. We now bring our queen in. I guess he does have a check here, doesn't he? Well, then if he takes here, we can intercept with our rook, and the queen is forced to take. And basically we're dominating at this point. But he does have one thing that's pain in the drain. He has a lot of, our opponent has a lot of pawns. Our opponent has a ton of pawns. So I'll leave this with you guys. I'll be right back. This is a very rich position as well, so I'll be right back. Let's see, what do we got here? Sorry about this, guys. Just gotta get a sip of water in 1 sec. Sometimes my mouth gets dry. That's much better when I'm thinking. Okay. Let's see. So queen. So just look. It looks like queen takes the queen. Interesting. We did look at that. So that's on. We could take the knight here. that is an idea. But I kind of see what the problem is. Then queen takes back, rook takes, pawn takes bishop on c5. We take there. Excuse me. He takes. Actually, we can't take at that point. Well, let me see here. If we take here, it takes there. Takes here. Oops, my bad, sorry. You're right, it doesn't win a piece. After takes there. After this takes here, that takes here. Then rook takes. Takes check. Yeah, we don't win a piece. Yeah, because of our back rank problem. Yeah. Oh, you can't hear what I'm saying? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. I see what you're... Okay, we gotta do this. Okay, here. If we played there, like what you're saying, that's a problem, because if we tried here, he could actually take there. Then if we took back here, he would take there, and if we tried taking, he could back rank mate us. So you're right about that. You can't lose. Oh, it's too high quality. Oh, it's too high of quality. Oh, ay. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can't. I'll lower that. I thought it was too low quality. Just give me a sec, guys. Let's see here. Advanced settings. I don't know what's Is that okay? Can you hear me now? How's that? Is that better? I'm still getting used to the settings if it's 7 let me see if I can't let me see if I can't go to my site thing and fix it. We'll see if I can't go to my managing page and see if I can't fix this. So we'll see, guys. Just hold on. Let's see. Is it fixed? Why isn't this? I have no idea. Stop doing that. Wait, okay, advanced. HB, show stats. I don't know why it's not doing that. What is going on here? I'm trying to lower the quality source. It's like advanced. How do I lower this? How do I lower this though? Okay. Well, sorry about that, man. Sorry. I'll have to look into that and make sure. Okay, I'll copy that and just 1 second. And I'll put that in there. Come on. Okay. We'll get it fixed. Oh, I need to be a Twitch partner for multi. Okay. Oh, it's explained there. Gotcha. 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 Okay. Sorry about that, economy. I think now we can win a piece. Hold on. Just 1 second. I'll put this. Hold on. Come on. Don't lag on me now. Don't lag on me now. I'll just paste this in here. Just give me 1 sec, guys. Alright. Now I got it. And thank you, and hey, how you doing? Okay. Because I'll look at that to see if I can't do anything, but if it's a partnership, hey, how you doing? Okay, yeah, I think we could just grab this there. Yep, there we go. Alright. I was just taking a look to see if it actually works. That's good to hear. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see, how could we take advantage of this here? Let's see. Potentially we have there. White. We are white. It's black to black moved from C, because we checked with the queen. Black moved to C7, so it's our move at this moment. Yeah, let's see here. So we don't have a check with the queen anywhere. We do have a potential bishop to bishop b6 check. Let's see here. They're funny. Yeah, I'm trying. Really don't see anything better than that. I'm trying to see, is there anything that we're missing here? Are we missing anything? There's no checks. I guess potentially there is a check here. There's a potential check on f7. And then if he takes here, we take back. So that's a potential idea there. Now you guys we gotta be we gotta be clean here, okay? Well, otherwise I gotta ban you because we don't have bad words or any of that talk. So here, okay, because it's all, this is based on chess. That's the whole thing. It's all chess. And this doesn't, this move doesn't work because even if he took here and we took, he's got rook d7 and everything's guarded. So I'm really thinking that that's all I can see. I don't really see anything else. What's that? Okay. What he's going to play is back there. Then we take there. And what then? Or potentially we could take here. No, that doesn't do anything. That doesn't do anything. So what do you think? You think it's that? Well, it is it is really strong, isn't it? Well, he could actually, I don't think, I'm not, now that I'm looking at it, there is the problem with here, 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 takes, and then back, it's protected by the queen. Oh, true. That is true, you're right. I guess I was wrong there, cause yeah, cause oh, true. Wow, you're right. Wowzers. Right. Wow, this is tough. Yeah, that's kind of... Excuse me there. Let's get a drink of water. One second. Excuse me. There we go. Okay, let's see, what do we got here? Okay. Boy, this is a pickle. I think it's rook f6. Because we get to throw in a... king h8. If we go if king h7 can I think it's we do have rook f7, but I don't know if that's good. Yeah, I think it's just I really don't see anything better than oh. Hey, how you doing? Very irritating. Sometimes that's really irritating when you lose points. me see here. Okay, king here. What did he leave behind? What did he leave behind? What did our opponent leave behind? There is a potential check here. Ooh, 95 is interesting too. He's got that, that, or that to go to. So if we go here, he goes there, we can actually go here. Interesting. Oh, wait a second. We just win. What am I thinking? Yeah, that's funny. One second. Okay. Oops, sorry about that. I don't know what happened there, my bad. All that got fuzzy. That's a little tougher to, let's see here, just gently. There we go. Just kind of a little bit, giving you guys a little bit of space. Hopefully this, trying to see if I can't just slightly shrink this. And I can just enlarge this a little bit. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Do we have any mates? Any mating ideas here? This should be interesting here, huh? No. No, that's not it. We do have this here. But then that could be played. I'm thinking it has to do with something like that. Yeah, I think you're right. I'm thinking that is a weaker check. I'm trying to find if there's anything, though, that potentially we can do besides. There's a couple checks. There's that check. There's that check. But we are with the problem with that check. We're down. We're slightly down material here, so I'm thinking we're gonna have to check here with queen b4. It's either queen b4 or queen f3. Boy, I'm not sure on this one. This one is kind of a trying to see. Let's work through this. Okay, here. Let's snap to this thing. It's just it's the same. Dang, this is tough. It's like I'm really not sure what we can actually do here. Maybe after a check, maybe after oops. Maybe after check here. I know, but I can't figure if we don't move this, we can't allow this to be taken because that's mate. He covers here. That's mate. So he's got us there. So we have to do something. There's a potential crazy move this, but I don't know if that's any good. We'd have a the only problem with knight f5, queen f5 is it's a back rank mate. Sorry. And I'd love to play this here, and then when he went here, but the only problem is takes, and then he wins a piece. So we don't win anything in that scenario. Man, this is a tough one. Oh, wait a second. What am I thinking? We have that check. So we do have 3 checks. My bad. So these don't give us anything but a problem. We'll do one more. So we were right. It is, you just move the rook. That's a crazy one. That's like crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay, let's see if we can't get one done more effectively. Let's see here. No. No, 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 no. It's got to be something like that. That's the only move that it could be, is King H1. I don't see anything really else. And then if rook takes here, we play rook takes. If he tries moving over here, what do you guys think? Because there's really only two moves potentially it could be: King H1 or Rook Rook F2, Rook F7 to F2. Or I guess we could play Rook F1 to F2. Let's see, if we played Rook F1 to F2, Bishop takes F2. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I really don't see anything better but that. Well, we can't really play knight e5 because we're actually in check at this moment. No, I don't think that's it. One second. Excuse me. I don't like that. No. Yeah. What do you guys think about knight f6? Sorry about being quiet. I was just thinking. What do you guys think about knight f6? Knight f6. Rook takes f7. Queen takes f7, and you are basically checkmating. What do you think, Chris? So that's mate. I think that's it. Let's give her a go. There we go. Okay, that's a perfect spot to end. I think we're back where we're close. We're like 3 away, so we'll pick up tomorrow. Perfect. See, I'll show you what we were talking about. If that happened, this is what would actually come to pass, which is mate. So if rook takes here, queen takes, knight takes, and then queen takes, and we're still Operation Go. Do you guys have any questions on this at all? Do you guys have any questions? That's okay, dude. Well, yeah, I tell you guys, did good. We're doing good. Boy, you know what? I'll have to work on the resolution a little bit for you guys. You know what? Remember, there's always a plan to position. You just gotta find it. When you do, you get to say, I love it when a plan comes together. And remember, don't learn from your mistakes. Don't dwell there. Keep pushing forward. That's the whole thing. Keep moving forward. Keep studying chess. And you know what? If you like what you see, follow. And I'm going to be back on tomorrow. So, well, guys, remember, as Wesley So says, through the Lord Jesus, as I say, God bless. I'll see you next time on Chess Crutcher TV. So have a blessed morning, afternoon, or evening. And like I said, if you guys like what you see, you can click follow. I'm going to be back. I'll be back tomorrow, Lord willing. And then I'll see you guys there. So keep studying chess, and we're going to keep doing good. Have a blessed, be blessed, guys. Bye-bye.